Good morning. Today's tutorial is how to do eyelashes. We are going to do one on an awake baby and one on a sleeping baby. I am borrowing my daughter's dolls that she just finished up. They're ready for eyelashes and hair. This one's getting painted hairs, so he's done. He just needs eyelashes. The tools I'm going to use today, for this one I'm going to use a little dark swatch of hair, just simple hair. This is the cut end. This is the non-cut end. And a needle. This needle I got from Bountiful Baby. This is the item number from Bountiful Baby. I get them by the ounce. I don't go through them very fast now that I know what I'm doing, but in the early days I broke them all the time, so don't feel bad if you break a needle or 10. This is a 43 gauge crown needle. Up close you can see that the needle has 3 sides. And on each side of the needle, right down here where my finger is, there's a little kind of a nick that pricks the metal, and that is what catches your hair and makes it go in the head. Other needles have 2 or 3 per side. This one has 1 nick on each side, so that's why it's a crown needle. So with this hair, I'm going to separate just a small little clump. Hair isn't as finicky on eyelashes as it is on the top of the head, because you only have one little layer. So I'm going to take a little pinch and I'm going to fold it in half to make a little loop. And we're going to get our needle and bring our baby in. This is for awake babies. It doesn't work the same way with sleeping babies. So now we need to figure out where the hair actually goes. And this ridge, that's the top of the eyelid. It does not belong there. So if you're putting it there because it feels easy, you need to correct that habit because it's not natural. Eyelids actually grow. The hair comes out of the kind of the very ridge of the eye. But we don't want it to come out at a straight angle because then it will always be in the eye. We are going to want it to come out at kind of an angle so that we can brush it up and help it to naturally curl up. So we're going to fold our hair in half, put it on there with my tip of my needle facing up right here. That means that I have one section facing down, and that's what we want. So we're going to grab a tiny pinch of hair, kind of gently pull it up so it's taut, and then you're going to push it in. And you're going to repeat this process, keeping your hair nice and close and even, over and over and over until you get all the way across the eye. When you get ready to run out of hair, you just kind of grab a new bunch and start over with a new bunch. So that little bunch is done, so we're going to start a new little clump and carry on. Now go back through and see where your little holes are. And if there is any big gaping holes, you need to fill them up so that there doesn't look like it's been plucked funny. A little hole right here. Okay, so this little eyelid is about finished. So now I'm going to take my water, kind of pull the hair, gently pull it up, and you let it dry like this position before we cut it or do anything with it. When it's dry in this position, it kind of has a natural desire to want to stay in this position. If you need to, get a large rubber band or a piece of ribbon and help hold this hair down. These little tiny hairs that are really small will naturally want to just poke out wherever they want to go. So next we'll do the other side, but before my other head gets cooled off, we're going to swap heads. I'll finish this guy in a little bit and come back to him. This next head, you have to bear with the tutorial process. He's an alternative baby. He is a little baby Oompa Loompa, or she. This is my daughter's creation. She's getting rooted green hair soon. This is just the under hair that you'll see. And Oompa Loompas have white hair. So on this little peanut, we're going to put white hair on her. This one's not quite the same. We're going to prepare the hair by making it flat and even across the tip so that we can see where the needle is going. Pull our hair in. With the needle facing up, just like the last time. You kind of lay your needle on it and you'll poke your hair in. And sometimes it goes and sometimes it doesn't. This head might not be the most friendly with hair receptacles. You can kind of see a few hairs going in. White hair is a trick because you can't really see what it's doing until you change the angles. Some people would like to just leave it in there and poke, 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 poke while it's in there. But sometimes you might accidentally poke the same hair in multiple times, and that makes it look really pluggy and kind of gunks it up. Now we're going to change the angle so we can see how many hairs our baby has, so we can fill in any holes. I can feel the needle catching the hair. You can get used to it and attuned to your equipment, and you'll be able to feel when things are going and things are not. And I'm going to try to give this little one a lot more hair because it's so white that you can hardly see it. So we're going to try to make it a nice thick set of eyelashes. Sorry about that. I kind of got out of the focus for a second there. Okay. You can kind of see that there's a little hole right in here. So we're going to try to get our hair centered and get some in that spot that's empty. Okay, here's a little loop that may or may not have gotten caught twice. We don't want that, so we're going to get it and pull it out. Okay, I think that's pretty good. It still looks like there's a little bit of a hole right in here, so I'm going to try a little bit more right there. Yeah, I think I got it. I felt it go in. Okay, so now we're done with that eyelid. Again, we're going to gently pull the hair up. And we're going to moisten it down so that we can teach it the direction we want it to go. Alright, so now we're going to let these little eyeballs sit for a while. And come back and trim the eyelashes to their right length. So this one's pretty dry. We're going to kind of push against it a little bit backwards, loosen the hair up. You can see it kind of already wants to stay in this position. There are still a couple of random hairs that, if we can't get them to go to the right direction, I will trim them off really short up next to the scalp or the eyelid so that they don't go the wrong direction the whole of their lives. With a very sharp, pointy pair of scissors. Get this focused a little better. We are going to start the cutting process. We're going to cut in swatches so that it is natural and nothing is like completely straight across. Some of these hairs will end up a tiny titch longer than the others, and that's okay too. Try not to let your scissors rest on the actual vinyl because it can scratch it up if you're not careful. This little clump looks a little bit longer than the rest of them do, so we're going to trim this one back a tiny bit so that it doesn't look like it's sticking way out there funny. Okay, now you see this silly little hair that just wouldn't behave itself, so I'm going to try to pluck it out so I don't have to cut it out. There, now it's gone. Alright. I have a cute little pair of eyelashes, or a eyelash. The other one hasn't been rooted yet, but there you have it. Very cute. Next, we're going to come back to our little Oompa Loompa dude, or dudette. This is going to be a little girl. And we're going to do the same for her. I'm going to loosen the hair off of her head if there's anything stuck. We don't want it to scratch the vinyl trying to get to it. And again, we're going to go in very carefully in a little couple hairs at a time. Trim the hair. I'm going to leave hers a little bit longer, so I'm going to cut it a little bit longer at first, and just because she is a fantasy baby, she's allowed to have extra long eyelashes to elaborate her Oompa Loompa-ness. Alright. It's kind of hard to see now that there's... yeah, this is a little bit hard to see. But it is there. We have a couple of hairs that's sticking off in the wrong direction, so we're going to either train that hair or we're going to pull it out so it doesn't look wrong in the whole of its existence. Alright, I think that's a pretty evenly done little eyelash. Okay, I think we're done. So now I'm going to carry on with these ones after I turn off the video so it doesn't turn into too long of a video. You guys go ahead and give it a try and see if you like it, if it's comfortable for you. And I hope that helps. You have a lovely day.